right, welcome everyone. If you all can take a seat as you're able to. We are live streaming this, so we want to go ahead and get started. So as folks are walking in, I'm going to lower my mouse a little bit. So as folks are walking in, I'll go ahead and do a brief introduction. So good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for being here tonight. My name is Rupa Venkatesh, and I'm the assistant to the city manager for the city of Northland. And we are here tonight to discuss the temporary use being proposed for the very space that you all are sitting in tonight. We are live streaming this on our YouTube page, and the recording will be available on the website as well if you want to check it out afterwards. And for those of you sitting in the audience, a reminder that there is a Tri-County Health Department public health order which mandates face covering, so we appreciate you complying with that. I do want to say a welcome to some of our Northglenn elected officials. We have Mayor Meredith Leidy here, Mayor Pro Tem Jenny Wilford, Ward 1 Council Member Ashley Witkovich, Ward 4 Council Member Shannon Lukman Aromasa, and Ward 3 Council Member Catherine Goff. So thank you all for being here. I also want to welcome our City Manager, Heather Geyer, our Chief of Police, Jim May, and our Deputy Chief of Police, Randy Darlin. Thank you all for being here. And Adams County is also represented in the audience as well, so thank you for your partnership. And I also want to welcome the newest member of our Crisis Response Unit. She is our current Community Resource Navigator, Jamie Sledowitz. She was the lovely woman that welcomed everybody as you were walking in. This is also her third day on the job, so we really appreciate her coming on board at this time. So I'll be giving a brief overview, and then I'll turn it over to our Crisis Response Unit Program Manager, Jessica Holtz, who will go over all the important details that you all want to hear. And then we'll open it up for questions and comments. We also have Josh Gapalt, who is the Vice President of Operations, and Renee Palacios, Director of Emergency Shelter Services with the Denver Rescue Mission. And we appreciate you both being here. And as a bonus, Josh is also a Ward 4 Northland resident. Okay, so the purpose of tonight, as I said, is to inform you all of a potential one-time temporary use of this old rec center for a winter housing program. As I said, Jessica will go over the details of the program. I'll outline some next steps. And then the important part, we want to hear your feedback and answer any of the questions that you have. What to expect tonight? So we'll do questions at the end, as I mentioned. Some other just basic ground rules. We do ask that you don't speak over one another. Everyone will have a chance to speak. We're looking to wrap up around 8 o'clock tonight, but if you still have questions that we didn't get to or you still have comments, feel free to contact Jessica or myself afterwards. Our contact information is in your packet. And then also this last bullet point, northland.org/oldrectempuse, that is our online public forum that you can leave comments there as well. Something else that we want to remind you all of is to be respectful. So we encourage and expect passionate conversations tonight, and we know that difficult conversations can lead to heated debates, and that is okay. But please be respectful of staff and especially of each other, and we do want you to be aware that we do have people with lived experiences that are here tonight that also could be watching at home in this room, so we do ask that you are sensitive to that fact and just respect that we all are human beings here. And the focus of tonight, I did see some of the comments on our online public forum that was asking questions about, well, what's going to happen to this facility after March of 2022, and that is not the purpose of tonight. The purpose of tonight is to really focus on this proposed program that we're going to talk about. So for this proposal, there is also one other thing that I do want to acknowledge, and that is the fast turnaround time. I know you all didn't get a whole lot of notice, but so I do want to acknowledge that. We've had a lot of community meetings on homelessness, and this topic also is brought up when we have council ward meetings, when we have Mayor Mingle meetings, and in addition, because this conversation is a hot topic in our community right now, last year council also created the Homelessness Community Task Force to come up with some recommendations. And And this is something that the community wants us to address, whether it's protecting the quality of life for residents or for helping those in need, and a combination of both. So we are really pleased to be here tonight to finally have a potential solution, and we just want to thank you all for coming to hear more information. So this is a one-time temporary use of this rec center that will be activated all nights from December 2021 to March of 2022. The maximum capacity is 25 individuals. The operating hours will be from 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. And if approved, this program will be operated by the Denver Rescue Mission and funded by Adams County. So with that, I know y'all want to hear details, right? So I will turn it over to Jessica.
Hi all, can you hear me? Great, thank you. Thanks for coming out tonight. As Rupa said, I am the program manager of our crisis response unit here in the city of Northland. The winter housing program was identified because there is a need for some kind of cold weather care for our residents in Northland. This was identified because it is known that Northland has no emergency shelter for our Northland Police Department to use during cold nights here in the city. Currently, our closest shelter is 20 miles away, so that does not act well. That's not an appropriate resource for our Northland PD during those cold emergency nights. It was also known that SWAP program is through Adams County, so thank you, Adams County. The SWAP program is the Severe Weather Activated Program. And snowing. So it has to be dry and less than 20 degrees or wet and less than 32 degrees. This program is a fantastic program, and yet it is hard for people who are experiencing homelessness and working at the same time. This is because the intake hours for the SWAP program are typically between 10 o'clock in the morning and 2 o'clock in the afternoon. The way that program works is that the hotels let Almost Home, the organization, hotel rooms are available by 10 o'clock in the morning, and then those rooms are typically distributed by around 1 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon. People who are or an ability to activate that or utilize that program. In Adams County, homelessness has also rapidly increased since the onset of COVID to the tune of 40 to 45%. During the 20 to 21 cold weather season, it was noted that there were 800 unsheltered residents living in programs that help with cold weather shelter, which is called the Cold Weather Program. It's not operating due to some staffing changes, which leaves a big gap in services for some of the most vulnerable in our city. When looking at this program, we really wanted to work with the experts. So, why Denver Rescue Mission? They started in 1892 to serve people experiencing homelessness as well as living within poverty. They currently operate 3 shelters, 1 day center, and a distribution center. They are the experts. As a bonus, as Rupa said, their VP When planning this program, we started to see what as a winter housing. We decided there be no minors served at this program. They are required to have employment or community connection, meaning that they are attending a school program, a training program, a day resource center, and a safe place to go during the daytime. This is because this is designed as a nighttime program, and so we want the people to also be safe during the daytime. Through our crisis response unit, our Adams County outreach workers, or our Northland PD. This site would not operate as a walk-up or self-referral program. People would not be able to walk to the door, talk to Denver Rescue Mission, and ask to be admitted. They need to be referred through an outreach worker who has identified them as an appropriate referral for this program. pretty simple program. The doors would open around 7 p.m. They would meet with, they would check in with the staff of Denver Rescue Mission, and then unit. Yes, tonight we are all gathered here and evening, but on a typical night of daily operations, you would be able to drive through and not be really noticing that anything was happening in this location. The responsibilities that would fall on Northglenn: identify appropriate referrals of people experiencing homelessness, as well as provide the case management utilizing our crisis response unit. Mission responsibilities would lie in staffing the providing custodial services, as well as contracting for maintenance and snow removal. Adams County involvement lies in providing the funding. This program is around $231,000. Also providing referrals from our street outreach is already in our city once a week. Their street outreach team, and they also understand how to make appropriate referrals to programs. Brings us to frequently asked questions. As we've been talking, we've noticed that we have frequently asked questions that I'm going to go over to our community questions. Denver Rescue Mission will provide the staffing community that want to get involved, including blanket drives, clothing drives, providing meals. The Denver Rescue Mission is also a nonprofit, so any donations that would come in are also tax deductible. What about people experiencing homelessness? That's where our crisis response unit comes in. We are already in the community working with people who are living unsheltered, and we're working to identify appropriate shelters, transitional housing, and long-term housing. They would be able to have access to SWAP if they did not know about that program, and if that person is not already connected to a job, also be provided for that person, so they would be able to use that hotel voucher program. What happens when the temporary shelter closes? So working with a manageable population of 20 individuals gives us the confidence that we will be able to make longer-term connections for these people. So we would have approximately 3.5 months to be able to connect them to transitional housing, longer-term housing, utilizing housing vouchers, or being able to look at what their income is and identify appropriate low-income housing as well. Will case management be provided? The answer is yes. Myself and our new community resource navigator, Jamie, would be providing case management on a weekly basis, meeting, getting to know our clients, and seeing what resources would be supportive for them. And what about families that have children? These families will be referred to Adams 12 5-star schools, which can provide resources through the federal McKinney-Vento Homeless Assistance Act. We have a great team that work right out in the city of Northland, and I talk to them frequently. They've also been to some of our other community meetings. What happens if there are safety issues? The Northglenn Police Department will be utilized in emergency situations. The Denver Rescue Mission staff have backgrounds in shelter management to ensure proper safety protocols to prevent and address any potential safety issues. This is what they do on a daily basis with hundreds of people. How can we ensure that individuals will not be hanging out during the day? This comes from making appropriate referrals, getting to know the clients before they are referred to the program, making sure they have a consistent and safe place to utilize and go to towards the day, making sure they have transportation to get there. These are residents who are working in the community, they have a car, they might be taking work training, or they have community connections, including family members. It is not unusual for me to work with residents who are living unsheltered that have family members here in our community that they hang out with during the day, but it's just not an appropriate place for them to be at during the night. How can we ensure that other individuals who hear of the shelter will not be lined up trying to get in? This is going to be utilizing the knowledge of Denver Rescue Mission employees who are used to running much larger operations. Having crisis response unit members available to assist with transportation to other shelters or get people into the SWAT program will also help if the situation arises. Will intoxicated individuals be allowed to stay? So this program will be run on a harm reduction policy, which is a very standard policy when working with shelters. If an individual is intoxicated or under the influence at check-in, this does not prevent the individual from staying at the shelter. Their safety is assessed as well as the other people's, and appropriate referrals are made. This approach is in line with most shelters' rules and regulations, and this program will work closely with the Northland Police Department to address any safety issues. As a bonus, our new community resource navigator is coming to us from being the director of a shelter in Greeley. She is well adept at understanding what's an appropriate level of intoxication or non-intoxication to be utilizing shelter resource or housing resources. How will this impact the future use of the old recreation center? It will not impact the future use. Research are still underway for the public and private development project. This the old recreation center. And with that, I'm going to hand it back over to Rupa to talk about next steps.
Awesome, thank you. Can you all hear me okay? Okay, so some next steps. So your feedback, council will be meeting on December 6th during their regular council meeting to consider a resolution declaring the proposed winter housing program as a qualified emergency on December 6th. Also on December 6th, they will consider the agreements that we have drafted with the Denver Rescue Mission, and then as well as to our community on homelessness issues and task force updates. So we have one scheduled for council on January. Council, those are all public meetings. And then when we schedule the next quarterly community update to have another one of these types of meetings, we can also provide feedback to the community and how the program is going as well. And then, like I said before, certainly keep the conversation going after tonight. Northland.org/old-rec-temp-use. Council will receive a copy of all those comments by the end of this week. For the thing that I do also want to mention is, for any reason, if you aren't able to ask a question or Jessica and myself aren't around tonight, information with Jamie. She'll take down your phone number, email address, and if you are interested in volunteering to do a clothing drive or a blanket drive, because that's something that information with. Up the floor to questions, comments. And I will try and repeat the question so that the live stream audience can hear it. So the question is, how does the outreach referral process work? Is it through churches? Can a concerned citizen make a referral?
Yeah, so I can answer that. Okay. So myself, I'm an outreach worker. I meet with people individually on Fridays, on Thursdays, as well as go out into the community. Jamie, she's doing that as well. And then actually our other street outreach worker from Adams County is here. Her name is Heather. And she's here on a weekly basis, if not sometimes daily, it seems. This would be the way to for us to do appropriate referrals. And then once that appropriate referral has been identified, we would let Denver Rescue Mission know that this person is a good candidate for the program.
About a year ago today, I'm part of an organization called. We're out here, I would say 4 to 5 hours a day during the biggest snowstorms last year, and they were picking up homeless people. They were raising money online. They were putting these folks in their cars, and they were housing them at local hotels. They raised, I don't know, about $4,500 to make sure that 20 people because they did it numerous times. Total days when you look at the number of people, okay? I was super proud of them, but I was also hella pissed, okay? That we had some of our youngest folks that were doing right by some of the least. And so when I saw this week, I said, I got to get out here and just thank whoever the heck was involved and decided to say, we're going to do something a little different with the ARPA money. We're going to try, at least this season, to make sure that people aren't getting frostbit, and it was a nightmare. But with that, I do have a couple questions. The pricing of $231,000 over 120 nights is about $1,900 per night. Not an issue, but for 25 people, that's $77 a night. I just want to consider, as pilot program, okay? But as you think of this in subsequent years, that you'd look for some opportunity to bring those costs way down, okay? And inside of that, potentially offering these services for more people. I don't know that it makes sense this year because it's a learning experience. And in that, you got to make sure that the community and everybody's safe and concerns are met and all that. So I'm not questioning that. I'm just asking, is there a consideration as you look into solving this not just for 21, 22, and I know that's not entirely the conversation, I'm sorry, but if you can look at some of the pricing. Thank you, ma'am.
Great. Josh, I don't know if you want to address any of the cost questions.
Sure. To be quite honest, we're used to running really large operations, and so this really comes down to the economics of scale. And so to do an operation for 25 people still requires staff to be here when they're here. We have 2 staff working at all times just because that makes sense. And so, yes, I agree. I mean, it is a higher cost per person than what we're used to. But again, that all comes down to scale. So.
Hi, I just want to say I've lived here for 48 years, right near Webster Lake, and I'm very proud of our city. I'm 100% behind this, and after hearing everything, it's much more than what I ever expected. I just thought people would be sleeping here and whatever. My husband passed away January 1st. I have a ton of jeans, I have clothes, I have socks, I have shoes, and I would love to be able to give them to anybody who needs them. Thank you guys for doing this.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your comments.
And make sure you leave your contact information with Jamie. If you want to, the question is this co-ed?
It is co-ed. So the space that you are in is the space that would be used. And part of that scaling is that we will have 6 feet between each sleeping area for the COVID considerations. This partition actually drops, and so we will be separating upon gender, but it is co-ed, yes.
With that.
I've lived in Northglenn for 33 years.
And the city of Northland is doing this. I think it's a great opportunity for people to get involved and help out, and I totally support it 100%. So right on.
Thank you for your comment.
Right behind you.
Me and my husband. So how would that work out, or would it be just separated also, or is it just going to be, like I said, it's going to be me and my husband?
Yes, so you will stay in the same gym, but the women will be on one side, the men on the other side. Yeah. So that's the only separation that'll be there.
Because like we already have a building and we already have like connections to people who have run, like they just said that they have run like bigger operations. So why is it just for, and we already have a new rec center, like why do we need to keep, like why can't we make it a homeless shelter, like a permanent homeless shelter for people to get more help, because like there's not enough resources here.
For a civic center, we're calling it a civic center master plan. So this site is part of phase 2. So that's already under negotiations and underway. So that's why this is a very unique opportunity that we have in Adams County in Northglenn to showcase a program and how it can work. But we're not going to be able to use this building past March of 2022.
Various rooms in this building. Why can't like a family be able to stay together, or like why are you shoving everybody in this room?
So the question is, why are families being separated? There's a large building. Why are we utilizing this space and not housing families together?
Part of it is because of our staffing levels for this. We want to have it in one consolidated area where we can keep an eye on everybody. This is a large building, and we could, work out a different arrangement, but this has happened so quickly, and we just want it to be in a way that we could be able to monitor everything going on.
Hi, my name is Shane. I'm the general manager with the Delta Hotel that's next door. Just really quick, looking at it from the business side perspective, since we've remodeled and rebranded that hotel to a Marriott, we have managed to bring over a considerable number of people and introduce businesses to the area that haven't been here before. We have one business in particular, hundreds of people from different parts of the country. So what we're looking at is more of ensuring the safety and the reputation of the area and not bringing somebody in one time and then losing it. As a hotel, we experience, because we're open 24 hours, we experience people coming in and trying to get in, obviously multiple areas. With the underpass over the interstate, obviously we find that to be kind of a big area for us, where people are coming from the other side. I've had people get in that are part of the homeless population that have gotten into the building, as well as set off the fire alarms in the building. They have attacked an employee before. So I'm not saying that trying to do things for people who are less fortunate is a bad thing. We want to make sure that for guests that we bring in from everywhere, since we are a Marriott, it is creating a better reputation for this building now. Just making sure that everybody stays safe and secure. And while I know y'all talked about as far as almost home, which I understand being in the hotel industry, different hotels use that, and during the COVID, would it not be easier to potentially limit them to a space? I have been in a hotel before that's been used as a temporary housing facility, and it was going if there's multiple exits that they could potentially get out of, and that facility was housing about 25 to 30 people with 2 staff working at the same time.
All right, so let's go ahead and turn it
So-
over to Jessica
Yeah,
to
so
answer
there's
that
a
question.
lot, and I'm going to if I miss anything, just say that you missed the point here. So my position in the city is I'm the crisis response unit program manager. I work heavily with our unsheltered residents, as well as with our sheltered residents, as well as with our businesses in the area, because my goal is to reduce stress on all of those different systems. Utilizing this program will be focused on people that are already living unsheltered on our streets. So I am very adept, and I am well aware of the population that this program will be working with. And I want to say those residents are already here of the night or in the middle of the cold is because they need shelter to survive. So making a program that's actually worked on helping them, serving people that need resources, is hopefully going to also decrease stress on businesses in the area. Like I said, the referral process would come from myself, Jamie, who is our community resource navigator, who's getting to know the city of Northland, as well as our street outreach teams that are already in this area. And yes, you're talking about an area where we share a lot of different borders with other cities. So people who family, connections to storage units, connections to jobs, connections to job trainings, for various reasons are using the underpass and getting back and forth to different cities. They will also be worked with to see if this is an appropriate referral. If it's not, then the goal is to also get them connected to other emergency services if this is not the appropriate referral. So the goal of this is to reduce stress on businesses that are in this area, because we will be having an appropriate place for people to, a safe and appropriate place for people to be, as well as provide consistent case management and resources. Does that help?
And so after this, if you can leave your contact information with Jamie, we can get you connected to Jessica as well. Is there a question?
I know that you're saying they have to work or have connection in the community, and during the day they have to be going somewhere and not going across the street to the park. It seems like it's really bad. I hardly walk there anymore, and these guys know I walk every day with my dog. It's really bad, and
So the Northland people take you guys are killing it over there. But like what she's saying is you guys say that a lot of people have jobs. Those people are going to be living here. They probably work in the neighborhood and communities. The ones that don't sit out at the park, and we had one walk through the neighborhood yesterday yelling at us. And it's frightening for the kids. And no offense to you, but about Marriott, they are a for-profit company. They don't have to open their doors to homeless people because they have to pay people to clean up after everybody.
All right, so let's do one conversation at a time. And
Respect, what happened to that?
So I want to address this. So if the people in the park are an appropriate referral because they want to get engaged in community resources or daytime activities for them to go to, then that would be a perfectly appropriate referral. If the people are not yet ready to engage in those resources, then they would not be an appropriate referral for here. But hopefully, by engaging each individual person, we would be able to make appropriate referrals for a safe place for them to spend the winter. Yeah, so that's, and I want you to leave your contact information because that's not focused on this position, but it is something that I work with on a daily basis.
okay, we have a question back here.
Hi everybody, my name is Christina. I'm a Ward 3 resident, and I'm also the chair of our Ccpp board, which is our community police board. So the first thing that I want to reiterate is that these are people who are going to be referred with cause, with care, and with compassion. Are in a specific point in their life that they just need a little bit of help. They just need the ability. The people who we would be housing here do the resources of Jessica and Jamie to find jobs and to get placement. The other thing, not the Ramada, I'm sorry, but the new name of the Ramada, brain fart. Thanks. Welcome you to a CCPP board meeting to discuss your concerns because, again, we are the community police board. So if you have issues with homeless people causing the police department, I'm here for you. You know, let's figure it out. The thing, again, to keep in mind is that these people are here anyway. They're sleeping into the underpass to wagon wheel. They are here anyway. If they can seek resources where they can get help, this is the best solution. If you have a but we don't hear any other solutions. What I hear all the time, not in my backyard. Well, I live across the street. I live at the Villas at Northland, and let me tell you, I want to have the ability to know that people are not going to die in my neighborhood because they don't have a warm place. Northland Police Department, what, 200 yards down the street? If I'm a homeless person, I'm not looking to cause that problem. I'm going to go somewhere a little bit further where I'm not going to get into trouble. So if you're concerned, again, the police are on it. They're here to help. They're here to take care of us. They're here to protect us. Are not the troublemakers. These are the people who want assistance and who are looking to take advantage. These are people, I mean, Jessica is amazing, guys. If you took the opportunity to get to know her, and everything that she can to get that person into permanent housing. So I would just ask you guys to know that this is a problem, whether we want to acknowledge it or not. And since we are going to acknowledge it, let's do something. Housing by giving them the hand that they need up.
So I'm one of those people who told this right now. I actually have a degree. Getting a job, getting back into the workforce. I went through 2 accidents back to back. Can you hear me now? Okay. I went through 2 accidents back to back. Days in ICU. Now, one thing that I think that we lack, we need more victim advocacy. Because I know in my case, I have an 803 FICO score, mid-score. So I don't see myself as being any danger here whatsoever. But I do see myself not having a victim advocate for 2 or 3 days. And that's there's a lot of them taking work programs. There's a lot of them like me that just got pushed out of apartments basically for no. A little bit of work, we're not going to hurt you. We're not the ones that are going to be feel anything for you. But we do need victim advocates, and if we get those afternoon, we could probably be back in an apartment. Thank you.
Okay, hold on, you guys. So if you don't mind, Hold on. You guys, we're getting... Okay, hold on. Let's hear from other people.
Hello, I'm Mark Schott from Ward 4, and I think this is a great way to try getting people housing, and we couldn't. And if you think it's only in our backyard or at our parks, drive to other cities, drive to other counties, they're everywhere. So it just is a people. They're hurting out there. They're cold. I hope it leads to bigger and better things for Northland. Thank you.
At my other community meetings, is that when we talk about the homeless, we often have an image in our head, but the people who work within homeless services, our populations into different tiers. We often refer to our tier 1 homeless as people who are usually short-term, one-time, working, fall behind on or they're renting a room from a friend, not working out, they have to leave until their next paycheck comes. Starts at around 2 weeks, and people are experiencing homelessness up to about a year. These people have a little bit harder. Thank you, Peggy, for your input. They are able to their job. They might not have access to that employment. They might have lost their vital documents to be able to get back into services. So this is tier 2. One mental health issue that support. Tier 3 actually it represents 10% of the people, percent of what we visualize. This is because the longer someone is experiencing homelessness, the harder it is to get back into connection. The harder it is to track your wallet, to track supportive services, get back connected to family members, supported family members. The longer someone's in homelessness, so after that 1 year mark, it is very difficult without programs, without support, without casework. This program is really looking at is that tier 1, they still have the motivation, ability to work within systems, to have organization, to track their vital documents, are able to utilize resources to be able to enter back into supportive systems. This program is not designed for that chronic homelessness population, which I do want to talk to you about, not during this meeting, but I do want to talk to you about it. So I just want to go ahead and shift that focus. The other thing to note is that Adams County has started what's called the Built for Zero campaign, which asks all the municipalities to meet on a weekly basis, and we actually name people who are experiencing homelessness by their individual names, and we case manage. Right now there is a focus on veterans who are experiencing. We recently identified 4 more, so it's a fluid document. So we work on it on a weekly basis with all the caseworkers, Adams County, Veteran Services. We meet on a weekly basis to actually name people using their real names in finding appropriate resources. This might be built into that Built for Zero campaign. Experiencing homelessness that often have other supportive services. So I'm just going to go ahead and put that out there before we put.
Question, comment in the back.
It's a comment. Thank you guys so much. I do understand that like the other it is true to an extent, but I think for the few times that we've had this, the view was that the city had to take to the city. I never believed in having a, I always thought if we're going to do it, let's do it the right way. Let's give them a place to live in a building where we can. We wanted, I hope that the city would be, that would pretty much include all the stakeholders, the business group, the community, the city. Usually are more interested in through the whole stakeholders that what can we do to house them? Do they need funding? Obviously, it's never going to be the city. Now, I do know it's going to affect people from other in a way. I understand that, but at least they are in a building, and what is concerned is the area clean. They do it so that we do not affect. I just came from downtown and I went to they were all over the alley that I have to park. And we have to do something about it. I support this. I think the city should really include the stakeholders. Put them on the board. Prove to them. Invested money, and they're also part of the community, not just the residents. So the understanding that someone doesn't want it in their backyard is wrong. Everyone just wants to be a part of it to make sure that they are safe and it's clean. Understand that they have a commitment that when they are put in the program, they have a commitment that those who are worried about how they would behave or be, that they would protect the other stakeholders. It's a mutual understanding. We all have to be on the same page. And I'm very happy that we'll be doing it here. Our concern, how do we entrust them with confidence that it wouldn't be distraction to their business or their concerns? That's what it is.
I want to thank you for your comment. I just want to give a little bit of history here. So this gentleman that just spoke is a strong business owner in our community, and he has consistently shown up to our homelessness community task force to look for solutions that would work or not doing things that he would approve of. And I thank you for coming and sharing that viewpoint today.
Do we have?
I'm totally in support of this project. But I'm wondering, are you also going to be able to allow safe parking? Because in 25 people is just going to be a drop in the bucket, you know. I mean, it's a huge improvement from what we currently have, but it seems like an opportunity to also allow that. Is that?
It does. We're going to focus on this one program and do it well. We would like to really track our outcomes, track people that are coming in here, be able to provide that consistent case management, not have crises in the parking lot due to cold weather that comes in. We really want to focus on this program this year and see track these outcomes and make sure it's consistent. Thank you.
All right, we have a question back here.
Will they be able to shower, and is there going to be any food available?
Yes. So what we are sitting in right here is the sleeping area. Denver Rescue Mission has done quite a few site walkthroughs with their entire staff, their case management team. This area right up here that you see lit, that would also have tables, some board games, that sort of thing, check-in processes, case management would happen up there. Food would be allowed up there. There's 2 restrooms right here that have showers. We've done walkthroughs to make sure that those would be safe, and so the showers would be utilized. And I believe there's talks of how
Anyone who hasn't spoken yet?
What about folks who are retired or disabled? A lot of times around how are we assisting those folks?
So the question, disabled, how are we helping them?
Accessible. We do have ADA people up and down as well. For transportation, that is a concern, but we also have a partnership with services for medical appointments, work options, vital appointments that they need to make. So that is an opportunity for transportation as well.
Year resident of Adams County, and for 5 years, actually for almost 6 years, I've done street outreach. I did 5 years in Boulder. Boulder had a unique situation with about 10 faith-based communities. So during severe weather time, at our particular congregation, we had sometimes upwards of 125 people not being able to be 6 feet apart, but only 6 inches apart from one another. In nearly 5 years I was up in Boulder, we did not even have one major incident, except actually the only incident I recall involved a dog that we had. Okay. So, and for the last year and a half in the southwest part of Adams County, I have done weekly street outreach every single out there. Sometimes, as you can see, I'm not exactly a kid. Afraid while I make my street outreach, and oftentimes I'm doing it solo. This program that you have here certainly beats all volunteers that were with the homeless folks during about 100 to 105 people that are vetted. I think this is an excellent program. It's a prime example of something that the rest of the county, all the other cities in the county and in the state can accomplish. So
regarding that volunteer-based thing too, because that was looked at here. In the previous cold weather care, it was volunteer-based. It took 400 people through the winter, which is not operating this year. So when we started looking at this, it was brought up that it could be volunteer-based. We would need to provide training. We didn't know if we could make that all come together. So I did not know if they would have the capacity to pull this off, and they have been really, really instrumental in getting all hands on deck to make sure that this is a safe operation.
We have a question up.
Yeah, I'm homeless and I'm on disability. I make $794 a month. Away in 2018. I was in townhouses right here on Pearl Street since 1987. I got an apartment, and my ex had an outburst and attacked me. Out, I lost the apartment because I couldn't pay for the apartment, which was $1,375. 94 does not pay for any place to live anywhere in Colorado.
We'll go in the back.
Hi. What are the plans of that? Are you March, so that after March, because even though it's probably 70 plus degrees today, that's not going to last forever. And May sometimes is very, very cold. So if this program only goes through the end of March, is there something in the beginning and that people in the community can also be a part of, and will there be meetings in regards to that later?
So the volunteer program was run through a network of churches, so that was not city operated. I do not think that they are going to have that up and running to be able to have it ready for next winter. I do know that. As far as program ending in March, that is because there are already, hopefully with myself and the new expertise of our community resource navigator, again running the shelter and very used to getting people into more stable housing, I really hope that plans. I'm hoping that those plans take place now when we are still enjoying warmer weather, but especially as people see an increased need for that cold weather care.
Is from a regional conversation, we are frequently meeting to see what we can do as a collective to help resolve some of the issues that we're seeing now with homelessness. If you are a member of a church, you are interested in leave your contact information with Jane, and depending on what happens Monday night, we'll reach out to start organizing something.
With this program, is there like a goal within it? I mean, 25 people is such a small number to see transition, so that if folks can be supported in getting into over the winter or have been identified over the winter, will be able to move in.
Yeah, so I think what you're asking is, as people find more stable places, will we be able to open up those slots? Yes, that is the goal. The goal is 20 people. Hopefully that doesn't take the full 3.5 months. Hopefully that can happen in a month, so then that slot opens up and we move a new person in. So as many people, and I also had a question over here asking if those results will be shared, and yes, we will be sharing the results in this this is success and failure. So what we are going to look at is what our exit rate is. Where are people as on a daily basis for her other shelter, and so we do have the software and the ability to track those statistics.
And if you want to be notified of any future community meetings about homelessness, as I mentioned, we try and do quarterly meetings or every so often as new programs come about, and we want to share updates. Make sure you leave your contact information with Jamie, and I'll send you out an email saying, hey, we have an upcoming meeting, please join.
I've lived on Lincoln Street 32 years. Okay, I raised 3 boys here in Northland. My question is, because he had a knife pulled on him in years past, stop him from walking our dog and say, go home. Yet we have tents all night, sleeping in the restrooms all night. You don't see the families that they're in.
All right, so let's have Jessica address the question that's up in the room. Oh, I'm sorry.
No longer ever send my boys out to play at the park like I used to, and I have neighbors living across the street from me whose kids have actually been attacked at the park. Stuff all over the park. That's not
good for the kids to see.
That's a really good question. The hope is that some of those people that are utilizing the park in ways that are not designed for park use will be able to access this program, and they will be able to utilize the resources that are being put into place. I'm also hearing the homelessness issue being discussed here, and that is something I do work with on a daily basis, and I do a lot of street outreach, and I do work with individuals to find out what is keeping you from accessing resources. Why does this not feel comfortable, and how can we get you? My office is also located out of our Northland PD, so I work directly with our community engagement officers, and as soon as someone calls me or our community engagement officers, then we do go out and respond, typically together, sometimes if one of us is busy. I think that we're going to have a slide with my direct contact information. People call and text me all day long. I also meet people, and we're also talking about utilization of space with those parks. Actually, it looks like we're going to have another expert.
Good evening. I'm Jim May. I'm your Chief of Police here in Northland. Park. And again, some of the concerns and everything else that you're having, we are going to increase patrol. We're also getting park rangers for next summer to also increase that as well. I think one of the things that I've seen what's going on there in that community and what the approach was when it's kind of like a hands-off approach. At one time, we used to push individuals out of the community. It's kind of like the tip of the spear in Adams County on trying to do something different, trying to bring those resources together, trying to get them, you know, kind of like a springboard of what some of you guys are experiencing right now, to give you an opportunity to, you know, to get out of being homeless and into some stable housing. So I think the heart of the community is there. One of the things that I could promise you as a police department, if you have call us, right? So we can go over, identify, and everything else. One of the other things is happening. You know, there's mental health concerns. There's, I can tell you, working with Jessica over the last year and some of the things that, you know, with our officers doing, working hand in hand in the community, we've seen tremendous changes. And again, and I think you'll see it, but every community is going through this. And if we're on top of it in the beginning, I don't think we're going to see the problem. I'm hoping we do see a reduction in some of the things that you talked about and some of the concerns that you have. So all we can do is several months and see what happens. But please, if you guys are here or you see something, please call us, right? And the other thing is perception. This way, maybe how they dress. You know, it's one of the things is just, you know, walking by saying hello. I think that's important as well, too. So, and Jessica and I talked about that today, and it's an accountability piece, right? And they're talking about, you know, when we're seeing that in there, they have to do certain things to stay in the program. So there is an accountability piece on this. Things is you have to trust in the expertise of those providing those programs. And again, my bet's on Jessica and how she does stuff. So, so I know some of you guys are concerned. The best thing I could do is just call it. And again, when we're dealing with that, that's a police issue. And some of the things and challenges that we're going to face doing that, we have, you know, some solutions of how we're going to deal with those individuals that are not doing what they need to do within our community or taking advantage of those programs. Anybody else have anything else for the police department while I'm up here? Yeah.
4-3 Lincoln, so our house backs right onto her flagpole. So we kind of get a real upfront, close and personal look at all this, you know. And she's right, I did have a knife pulled on me. The weather was cold, so it was last winter sometime. I guess the one thing I really take is am I understanding it right? It would stay overnight? I mean, that's what that letter said.
Yeah, so I'm also going to turn this over to Denver Rescue Mission. So, sometimes I feel like I'm talking to the choir. So people who are passionate about these topics often are people who have also worked in these topics. So what we will be using here is a harm reduction model, meaning that they will be monitored for use in the facility. If a person arrives or is recommended to the service through Northland Police Department that is medically not fit to be here, then other resources will be utilized. Do you want to?
Yeah, so as people come in, we are not going to breathalyze them or what we work on. If they're a danger to themselves or to others, then we will, we may call the police department, or we may call someone to take them to detox or for medical help, things like that. But we primarily work off behavior. We don't want to just ask somebody to leave. And we would rather have them in here where we're keeping an eye on them than outside there, especially when it's cold, because we don't want someone to pass out and to freeze to death.
Can you repeat the question? The question is there a 3-strike program or
someone's behavior is just something.
All right, is there anybody that has not spoken yet that wants to ask a question or make a comment?
Director at Untitled. I just wanted to emphasize how important this program is. Just because talking about how we can't have a one-size-fits-all solution to different people's situations. This is not a program for every person that you might be encountering, and we have other programs concern and their specific barriers. Other shelter that network that exists about saving people's lives. And this is what we're sheriff on the street because it's a lack of resources that we as a community. And when we have this opportunity to ensure that people who are, as has been mentioned, connected already, the not only desire but the follow through to engage in services that will help themselves, ensuring that they are not in a situation where remember like a life in our community. It's extremely urgent for us to be putting ourselves behind as a city to ensure that we have that option, one of many, for people. You can see as Jessica and folks talk at the front of the room, we're very connected to all of these other services so we can make those will really be able to benefit from it and get into long-term housing and again really reduce. I'm so in support of this program. I'm so excited for the work that's done it are really on the ground and really close to the issue and know what it takes to make this work. So I just wanted to express support for that, for everything you all.
Questions, say comments.
I just want Rupa. I'm involved in some of my support staff are here this evening. And Ron and I sort of started this, and without Jessica and Rupa being hired by the city to come along move forward, we not only have moved forward, we have seen a number of our young men and women get jobs and move 17th and Grant. I have walked that park with my kids. I have never once been afraid to be in that park at any hour of the day or night. The more these you are there for them and you love them, they program I see as being a real benefit. And I've lived it. And I hope every one of you could be doing that. That's what it takes. It takes the community to get this stuff done. Parade in my park. That is my park. This is my city. This is my community. I love everybody here because this is where I raised my kids, and my grandkids were here forever. And trying to get something done around. Almost. I have never been afraid. I let these people know I care about them. Churches that are now supporting. It started out with just 2, and now we have 5 that are helping to feed this. I call them homeless. We've named our group Inspired. They are very inspired. Be frozen and dying just amazes me. I'm inspired. And I mean, thank you, Jessica and Rupa, for stepping out and making this program what it can be. And I could go on forever, but I'll just be quiet at that point.
All right, anyone else that wants to have a make a comment, ask a question? All right, so seeing no hands, information is on the screen as well as mine. If you want to keep involved and stay engaged, if you want to follow up on anything, if you want us to follow up on anything, please leave your contact information. If you want to know when the next one of these meetings are happening. So with that, I will say thank you all so much for coming out tonight and sharing your opinions, sharing your concerns, and have a good night.